Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star 2 origin continent based on novel. So let's start. Jia-Rong-Chi glanced at the young true god, then entered the small building alone. Within the small building, Jia-Rong-Chi immediately saw Luo Fong and Morosa, both sitting there, enjoying the fine food and drinking wine. Jia-Rong-Chi pays her respects to the Supreme, Jia-Rong-Chi said reverently, as she knelt and pressed her forehead to the ground. Speak your business, Luo Fong said leisurely as he poured himself some wine. Search the novelia, .ne t website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. My father was murdered, and all the creatures in the cave mansion, including the children, were slaughtered, Jia-Rong-Chi said while prostrate. I only wish to avenge my father and all the creatures of the entire cave mansion that died. I asked the city owner's mansion to kill the murderer, but they were unmoved. I increased the bounty at the Flame Wind Pavilion's dark hall, hoping someone would be willing to take action. But I waited all night, and still no powerful being stepped forward. I know the Supreme is not afraid of the Blood Python Association, so I have come to beg the Supreme, hoping the Supreme would accept the bounty, and kill the Blood Python leader, Jia-Rong-Chi pleaded hoarsely. Luo Fong and Morosa both looked at her. What do you offer me in your plea? Luo Fong said, that banquet you've arranged for this occasion. I have nothing left to offer, nearly all my wealth has been put into the bounty of the Flame Wind Association's dark hall. Now only 10,000 cosmic sand remain. I am also willing to offer these 10,000 cosmic sand to the Supreme, Jia-Rong-Chi whispered as she knelt. I know that this bit of cosmic sand is far too little to ask the Supreme to take action. But I have nothing left, only my life remains. I am willing to sell myself into servitude for the Supreme, to serve for a lifetime. I have no other wishes than to seek vengeance, Jia-Rong-Chi said with tears in her eyes, her fluffy tail also drooping to the side. Luo Fong looked at her. Sell yourself into servitude. Your father obviously had plans for you, and today you also came aboard the Moli clan's flying boat. You could easily live a carefree life. Now you want to give up everything, sell yourself into servitude, all for the sake of revenge. Yes, Jia-Rong-Chi prostrated without any hesitation. Even if I killed the Blood Python leader, your father cannot be brought back to life. To give up a carefree life for a dead father. Luo Fong looked at her, recalling the last time he saw the young miss of the Jia-Rong family, feeling her pride, but now she was completely different. That was my father. He loved me the most in this world, always protecting and cherishing me. His final transmission, before his death, was all about considering my welfare, arranging a way out for me. Yet, the father who loved me most is gone. The clan members I've grown up with since my birth are gone. Jia-Rong-Chi said as she knelt. For the sake of vengeance, I can do anything. At no expense. Even if it meant perishing both in body and soul, I would be content. Jia-Rong-Chi looked towards Luo Fong. Your father made arrangements for you in his final transmissions. He likely hoped you'd live well, Luo Fong said. You need not sell yourself into servitude. Keep the 10,000 cosmic sand you have left and use it for your own cultivation, and live well, just as your father hoped for you. As for your request for me to take action, I was indeed planning to accept a bounty mission. Let the Blood Python leader be my first bounty target, Luo Fong said. Jia-Rong-Chi stared at Luo Fong, stunned. He would help without needing cosmic sand or her servitude. I am willing to serve the Supreme, Jia-Rong-Chi expressed her immense gratitude. There's no need, Luo Fong said lightly, shaking his head. You go back to the Moli clan first, and remember, keep this matter a secret. Jia-Rong-Chi nodded repeatedly. Of course, she understood the importance of secrecy. You will receive a message before nightfall, Luo Fong said as he waved his hand lightly. You may go. Thank you, Supreme, Jia-Rong-Chi bowed deeply before getting up and departing. As Jia-Rong-Chi left the small building, her emotions surged. She saw Moyu Qingyang waiting at the door, and felt an inexplicable twinge of envy. She offered to serve as a servant, yet the Supreme did not accept. Miss, Suo Yun hurriedly approached to greet her. Suo Yun, my father is dead, the Jerung clan is finished, Jerung Chi said. You no longer need to act as my protector. As she spoke, she patted Suo Yun on the shoulder, and a jade vial appeared inside Suo Yun's robe. Stunned, Suo Yun could hardly believe it. Jerung Chi quickly boarded the Moli clan's flying boat and left. The Jerung clan is finished. Suo Yun, who had been guarding the modest Fire Realm restaurant, was not very well informed and did not know about the events of the previous night. Sensing the small jade vial with divine power, he couldn't help feeling delighted. A full 500 primal chaos crystals. The miss is truly generous. Even with his talents, serving as a protector for the Jerung family for one era, earned him only 10 primal chaos crystals. The miss was letting him go and gave him 500 primal chaos crystals, which was truly a fortune for a true god. He understood that such a large number of primal chaos crystals was given to him, because of the merit points he had accrued. With these, I can purchase resources to refine the bloodline of my godly body, and added to my previous inheritance law, with my talents, I fully aim to become a true god of void space. Suo Yun mused internally with eagerness welling up, and turned to leave. At that moment, the Fire Realm restaurant's owner Black Butcher also noticed Suo Yun's departure. This protector, Suo Yun, has been staying at my Fire Realm restaurant all this time, and is finally leaving, the Black Butcher thought. The Jerung family's young miss, who just left, was also odd. Normally she comes with her own entourage of protectors. Why did she take the Moli clan's flying boat this time? The Black Butcher subtly felt something was amiss. Having struggled to reach the Void True God realm, after arriving in the land of origin from reincarnation cycles, he wasn't as well informed and didn't know of the annihilation of the Jerung family. Black Butcher. A commanding voice resounded as the red-haired man Duan Moyun, accompanied by several subordinates, arrived at the Fire Realm restaurant. Palace Master Duan. The portly Black Butcher greeted him enthusiastically. As the Black Butcher, a member of the law lineage who had cultivated in the land of origin for countless years, he was definitely among the top tier in the Void True God realm, more than capable of suppressing Duan Moyun. However, he didn't dare to show the slightest disrespect at the moment, for the other was one of the Palace Masters of the Blood Python Association. It's truly rare for Palace Master Duan to visit my humble restaurant, the Black Butcher said warmly. Black Butcher, Duan Moyun spoke. I'm here to deliver an order. The Black Butcher asked, puzzled, what order? Our leader has commanded that all merchants within the territory of the Blood Python Association must pay a one-time tribute fee for 100 eras, Duan Moyun said. A tribute fee for 100 eras. The Black Butcher was shocked and asked urgently, hasn't it always been just 1 era's fee at a time? I've never shortchanged the Blood Python Association in my tributes. The rules have changed, pay a one-time fee for 100 eras. After this payment, the next will be after another 100 eras, Duan Moyun said with a smile, my Blood Python Association won't overcharge you. The Black Butcher said anxiously, but where would I get so much? All merchants within our Blood Python Association's territory are the same, Duan Moyun said. You have 3 days to make the payment. If you don't pay, you should know the consequences of defying the Blood Python Association. The Black Butcher's expression turned ugly. The message has been delivered, you better hurry and prepare, Duan Moyun said as he turned and walked away with his subordinates. Master, how can we gather such a huge tribute fee in 3 days? A disciple also said worriedly. The Black Butcher shook his head slightly. Those merchants with stronger backing can ignore the Blood Python Association, but we don't have that luxury. To dare not pay at a time like this, one might lose their life without a sound. Since the Blood Python Association had decided to collect a one-time tribute fee for 100 eras, they'd surely make an example out of someone. Those who dared not pay would be killed. The Black Butcher had lived in Huyang City till this day, and he knew very well what should and shouldn't be done. Though he understood, he still felt aggrieved. Sigh, it's so hard to run a small restaurant here in Huyang City. The Blood Python Association is collecting a tribute fee for 100 eras, a voice sounded. The Black Butcher turned his head, and saw Luo Fong and Morosa walking up to him. Supreme Herd, the Black Butcher said helplessly, it's the order of the Blood Python Association, and a small restaurant like ours has no room to resist. Indeed, The Blood Python Association is a bit mad, Luo Fong nodded. Luckily, I've had dealings with them. The Black Butcher muttered to himself. Had dealings? Who in Huyang City didn't know that the river god crushed the Blood Python Association, making them obediently pay a penalty of 20,000 cosmic san? I'll speak to them when the time comes, and you should be able to avoid paying that tribute fee, Luo Fong said. That would really trouble you, my lord, the Black Butcher said repeatedly. In Huyang City, some merchants with strong backing wouldn't need to pay tribute fees. It was only the weaker merchants like them who couldn't resist. If the river god spoke up, life for the small restaurant would undoubtedly improve significantly. My word should carry some weight, Luo Fong said before departing with Morosa and Moyu Qingyang. The Black Butcher watched Luo Fong leave, overflowing with joy. The Blood Python Association won't start a fight with Supreme Lord Luo, he just for a small restaurant like mine. Ah, Supreme likes my little restaurant, life's going to get better from now on. Having a patron like that could save one from a lot of exploitation. Master, are we going to the Blood Python Association now? Asked Morosa, looking down at the bustling cityscape of Huyang City, his eyes burning with eagerness, while the bewildered Moyu Qingyang stood beside him. Visit the Blood Python Association. Was it necessary to be so urgent for the sake of the Fire Realm restaurant? At this moment, Moyu Qingyang was still unaware of Luo Feng's intention to confront the association leader of the Blood Python. We're going now, Luo Feng nodded. Let's go. Whoosh! Luo Feng, leading his two servants, turned into a blur of flowing light, heading directly for the Blood Python Association headquarters. Soon, the vast, imposing expanse of the Blood Python Association headquarters came into view, teeming with Blood Python Association members scattered everywhere while the formation operated, its power terrifyingly formidable. You two stay outside and watch, Luo Feng instructed, glancing at Morosa. Yes, master, Morosa replied, while simultaneously grabbing hold of Moyu Qingyang, who was somewhat confused. Shouldn't the servants accompany their master during his visit to the Blood Python Association? Morosa transmitted a message through mental connection. Master, rest assured, even if that cunning Blood Python leader manages to escape, I'll be able to intercept him. Just watch, I'll handle him. Luo Feng sent a message back telepathically, and flew towards the grand entrance of the Blood Python Association headquarters. Leave the body of the Blood Python leader to me, will you? Morosa sent a telepathic message, drooling with anticipation. The body of the famous Blood Python leader would surely be far superior to that of He Duomo. Luo Feng had already flown close to the main entrance of the Blood Python Association headquarters. He also utilized the Flame Wind Pavilion's Dark Hall's transmission token to instantly accept the mission, Assassinate Association leader Mu Yang of the Blood Python. It was now daytime, and outside the headquarters of the Blood Python Association, there was a bustling crowd, with many true gods, some soaring across the sky on flying secret treasures, others walking on the streets. Yet, they all consciously kept their distance from the headquarters of the Blood Python Association. That is the headquarters of the Blood Python Association. Dark Forces Blood Python Association. Many true gods passing by gazed in, or at the grand and vast headquarters of the Blood Python Association. Suddenly, they noticed an incredibly dense darkness had completely enveloped the entire Blood Python Association headquarters. This scene left the cultivators of the myriad clans, who were passing by, in shock. After all, it was daytime, and many tribal true gods had entered the city, and they all clearly witnessed this scene. What's happening? The darkness has covered the entire Blood Python Association headquarters. You can't see inside, nor hear any sound. This is a cosmic domain. The headquarters of the Blood Python Association must have encountered a formidable enemy. This is big trouble. The myriad clans cultivators were bustling about, all immediately stepping back to keep a distance, watching from afar. Among these cultivators were Morosa and Moyu Qingyang. Lord Luo, the master he. Moyu Qingyang was not foolish, naturally realizing something was amiss. Just watch. Morosa said with a smile, watching intently. S tilde the novelfire.nt website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Luo Feng accepted the bounty task, known only to the Flame Wind Pavilion, which also would not disclose the matter. Accepting tasks had no restrictions, even several powerful beings could accept the same task separately, and whoever completed the task would receive the bounty. Master, Luo He has accepted the task of assassinating the association leader Mu Yang of the Blood Python, the shadowy figure immediately informed the master of the pavilion. Luo He and the association leader Mu Yang of the Blood Python. The master of the Flame Wind Pavilion gently tapped, and the scene of the Blood Python Association headquarters appeared in front of him, now completely engulfed by darkness, utterly indistinct. This Luo He is direct. He's gone straight in. The headquarters of the Blood Python Association, suddenly enveloped by a cosmic domain. And there's a burst of strong fluctuations. Several officials responsible for monitoring the entire city, at the city owner's mansion, were immediately shocked. Quickly report to the city lord. They knew the urgency of the situation. Clearly someone powerful had directly attacked the Blood Python Association headquarters. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Luo Feng was well aware, though he had accepted the task, the Flame Wind Pavilion would not disclose it. But Luo Feng always believed in one thing: the more people who knew the secret, the easier it was to expose. Even with the Flame Wind Pavilion, Luo Feng would not fully trust them. While deploying the cosmic domain to instantly envelop the Blood Python Association headquarters, Luo Feng had already made his move. HMPH. Luo Feng's right hand turned into a claw, stretching forward, his arm swelling, and his 5 fingers lengthening and enlarging rapidly. The 5 fingers, like 5 heavenly pillars causing space and time to warp, forcefully grasped onto the formation of the Blood Python Association headquarters. As a force of the dark forces, the Blood Python Association headquarters often clashed with other forces, so naturally, its formation was powerful, having also cost a considerable amount. But as Luo Feng's 5 fingers, like heavenly pillars, came crashing down, boom, boom, boom tilde tilde tilde, continuous explosions ensued, several formation bases of the headquarters burst directly, and the operating formation was completely ripped apart. Not good. A powerful enemy is here. Many members inside the Blood Python Association headquarters looked up to see the formation ripping apart, and were instantly panicked, having no thought of resisting. After all, seeing a cosmic domain enveloping them and even the formation broken, they knew the attacker was among the most powerful of the eternal true gods. These common members could manage collecting levies, but facing a terrifying force, they would crumble to dust upon contact. They all hurriedly hid, seeking refuge in secluded parts of the buildings, only hoping not to be involved. Has someone already made their move so quickly? In the closed hall, the Blood Python Association leader Mu Yang looked up, his gaze piercing through layers of barriers to see the palm tearing the formation. Who in Huyang City dares to strike at me? Not good. In another location, Vice President Lai Mo, Vice Chairman Mu Lin felt the terrifying disturbance of the entire formation being shattered, both their faces turned pale. To instantly crush the formation, this strength must be no weaker than the leaders. Far surpassing both of us. Vice President Lai Mo, Vice Chairman Mu Lin both trembled with fear, they were much weaker than the leader. Ha ha ha. You Blood Python Association have committed all evils, now retribution has come. A horribly tortured true god of void space burst out with a mad laugh. The vengeance for my Chamor tribe's 3,700 kinsmen shall be avenged today. This true god of void space was one of the praise of the Blood Python Association. At this time, Vice President Lai Mo and Vice Chairman Mu Lin could no longer afford to investigate the Chamor tribe's hidden treasures. Vice President Lai Mo merely glanced at him, and the horribly tortured true god of void space was eradicated. Let's go. Go and meet with the president. 2 vice presidents acted decisively, instantly dashing out of the building. As they burst out of the building, they realized that the outside was completely engulfed in darkness. Within the twisted darkness, a terrifying presence loomed over them, and a vague figure was already approaching. Luo He. Upon seeing the blurry figure, Vice President Lai Mo's bloodshot eyes bulged out. Initially stricken by Luo Feng with a move that took the true god's heart, Vice President Lai Mo's fear of Luo Feng was deep-seated. Luo He. Vice Chairman Mu Lin's face also changed, The two of them encountered Luo Fong, but reacted in utterly different ways. Vice President Lai Mo immediately ignited his divine power, retreating frantically, only thinking about getting as far away as possible. Meanwhile, the exceptionally thin Vice Chairman Mu Lin showed a crazed expression. In an instant, his body explosively disintegrated, transforming into countless poisonous insects. These densely packed insects, most of which attacked Luo Fong, while a few scattered in all directions. Luo Fong instantly discerned these densely packed poisonous insects, each encased in a silver-gray shell, remarkably tough. The body of poisonous insects. Luo Fong had thoroughly understood from the information obtained from Shang Qianyang, knowing that this vice-chairman Mu Lin's entire strength lay in his godly body, cultivated into the quite troublesome body of poisonous insects. With the ability to split into 1,000,000 poisonous insects, tough and with exceedingly sharp mouthparts, even weapons' secret treasures could be slowly gnawed away given enough time. Moreover, the intense poison contained could penetrate the soul. In terms of threat, Vice Chairman Mu Lin was even more difficult to deal with than Vice President Lai Mo. With my countless treasure insects, as long as I can delay for a while, I can completely shake him off. Each poisonous insect contained the will of Vice Chairman Mu Lin. HMPH. Luo Fong didn't stop his steps, accompanied by a cold snort. A grey, vigorous force erupted on the surface of his godly body. This force, centered on Luo Fong, impacted the surrounding area naturally, including all the attacking poisonous insects. These incredibly tough insects, touching the grey vigor, were instantly shattered. The grey vigor also split into tens of thousands of strands, pursuing the fleeing insects. All the escaping insects were nowhere near fast enough to outrun this grey vigor, and were all overtaken and annihilated. Phut! Some of the grey vigor even chased up to the frantically fleeing Vice President Lai Mo. Although Lai Mo's power was not dispersed, he burned his godly body and wielded a scepter, barely blocking those strands of grey vigor before fleeing even faster in terror. Mu Lin's 1,000,000 poisonous insects were wiped out in a single encounter. This Luo, he is too terrifying. Only the president can stop him. Luo Fong continued advancing, waving his hand to collect various items like bracelets and jade vials that dropped from the annihilation of the 1,000,000 poisonous insects. The destruction of the 1,000,000 poisonous insects was thanks to the reincarnation blade from the world-breaking 9 blades, which Luo Fong had mastered and comprehended. Now, after a session of body refinement, the terrifying strength of his godly body emanating from the reincarnation blade's essence felt as if it was an entire realm of reincarnation blades. With just a small release of vigor from my godly body, I can easily devastate ordinary eternal true gods. Luo Fong was well aware of the formidable nature of his own godly body. When he first arrived at the land of origin, his godly body was still growing, far from reaching the height of 100 million kilometers. Now, having grown to its pinnacle, his true body could maintain a height of 180 billion kilometers in the land of origin, with every movement not inferior to the eternally true gods at the tenfold realm of the bloodline path. And after another session of body refinement, the formidable nature of Luo Feng's divine body was beyond imagination. The vigor burst of the godly body, supplemented with the reincarnation blade's essence forming the reincarnation blade realm, under such realm's influence, the likes of He Jumo and Vice President Lai Mo, if they resisted directly, would be twisted and shattered. Just being remotely affected by a small amount of that power is this terrifying. Vice President Lai Mo, burning his divine power, rushed towards where the president was. "President, save me, President, save my life." Vice President Lai Mo urgently transmitted his message. "I'll handle him," spoke Association leader Mu Yang from the Blood Python, already arriving in front of Vice President Lai Mo. Vice President Lai Mo felt a momentary relief. Even if the president is weaker than that Luo he can entangle him for a while, giving me enough time to get away. This small cosmic domain might trap ordinary members of the Blood Python Association, but not him, an eternal true god. But suddenly, Association leader Mu Yang's expression changed as he looked at him. How is this possible? Vice President Lai Mo looked down at his chest, then turned around. Luo Feng was standing right behind him, holding a glowing true god's heart in his hand. Only at that moment did Vice President Lai Mo's body crash down. The face of Vice President Lai Mo appeared on the surface of the true God's heart, still filled with disbelief and unwillingness. How is this possible? The laws of space and time are sealed within Huyang City, except for the Huyang Legion and Huyang Guards. No other powerful beings can travel through the void. How did he suddenly appear behind me? You escape quite fast. Luo Fong looked at the true God's heart. The face on the true God's heart, belonging to Vice President Lai Mo, immediately pled for mercy. Lord Luo He, facing you, I dare not make a move. Please spare my life. I will give all my treasures to you, divine monarch. If I kill you, the treasures are mine anyway. Luo Fong closed his hand, and with a squelch, he crushed the true God's heart. This video will end here.